Everyone, we wanted to take a quick moment to thank all the listeners, the viewers, and of course the patrons out there. The team here at Vectorsigma hopes that we can bring a little levity and a distraction from the weight of the real world. Time is always precious, but that has become even more obvious now. We want to say that we really do appreciate everyone out there that's spending their time with us.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Vectorsigma.info. This is another top 4 deck profile. Today I'm sitting here with Thomas Jempty. How you doing today, Jempty?
I'm doing pretty good, man.
That's good to hear. It's good to hear. So, you were the third member to 3-other bracket to secure your spot in the top 4. How did that feel like when you did that?
I was super happy, man. Especially after the end of the third game, because even though I had gone 2-0 leading into it, I didn't feel like I had played very exceptionally well, but I had won my matches, and I played much cleaner in the third set and finished 3-0, and I felt much better about myself.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So I'm looking at the deck. It's on screen here for everyone to see it, and I want to know, like, what were like some of the reasons that you decided to play this specific deck in this tournament?
Well, when the whole set was fully revealed, I was immediately drawn to both Sky Shadow and Perceptor, and the ability to play what becomes essentially starts as a 3-wide deck, goes to 2 tall, and then ends up with 6 attackers. It seemed really dynamic to me and presented itself to be very strong against a multitude of strategies.
That's fair. What did you expect the field to look like?
I expected a lot of Sky Shadow. I mean, it played out that way too. I expected more Perceptor than we ended up seeing.
That's fair. I want to say there was only about 4 Perceptor decks out of the 16, which, I mean, it's still not a bad number.
How many Sky Shadow decks were there?
Between 6 and 8 or 7 and 9, I can't remember specifically.
So like half the field.
Half the field was Sky Shadow, yes. Between Sky Shadow, Perceptor, Horrible, and Windsweeper. And then there was also the 4-wide start with the Night Racer and the Motormaster.
Fred's deck, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So lots and lots of Sky. I mean, there had to be at least 8 because there was 4 Horrible Sky Shadow decks to start, plus the other 3 or 4 that I just named. So yeah, there was a lot. How did your matches go?
They went about as I expected them to go, with my mistakes aside. My first round match was with Jamie, and he played the super orange with a splash of blue General Prime Fangry Windcharger deck, which I had tinkered with before on stream with you, the Windcharger build. It's fun to play, but I knew with my Sky Shadow Perceptor build leaning blue, I play a big splash of orange, but I still play the 5 of the 6 double blues, that if I could blank a few of his attacks, that I was going to be super ahead.
Yeah, I mean, and it showed throughout those games that his Windchargers, I'm pretty sure in one of the games, his Windcharger only dealt 4 damage on its first attack, and like that's like unacceptable for that deck probably.
Right, and then another turn he Fangreed for 1 into Sky Shadow, so it's just like if I can blank those attacks, then he's just playing from behind, and I just have to close the game out.
Right.
Then
second round.
Second round was Ken. I think we played off stream.
Yeah, it'll be up on the website though.
He was playing Windsweeper with Sky Shadow. I had tinkered with a 3-wide Windsweeper deck on stream with you once again. So I knew the character. I knew he could be annoying, but at the same time, he was slanted more blue than I was, so he's more on the defensive side.
Mm-hmm.
So my strategy there was I'm going to try to make Windsweeper irrelevant, get some damage on him, and then finish him off with a big swing. And uh, if I can like get Perceptor to be huge, it doesn't matter how much blue he flips in the end. And I think Perceptor ended up swinging for like 16 one of those turns or 17.
Yeah, you made Perceptor proud.
Yeah.
And your third round?
Third round was combo. Man, I was sweating it. I played Neil. That match was on stream. And that was a roller coaster of a set of games. Game one, I wasn't able to stop his PTT play. I felt myself being super far behind about turn 3. And I think you guys even commented that like he's almost at the point where he should scoop. But I wasn't going to scoop until both my PTTs were gone out of the deck. And I got one late. I made a desperate PTT play, and I think I ended up putting like 12 damage on Springer, not killing him. So the second I whiffed, I scooped it up. Once the PTTs were gone, I knew I needed those and the sideboard cards to make a much bigger difference in the matchup to try to disrupt what he's doing. So I just scooped it up. I only had my little guys left. I tried a desperate bad PTT play, but in the so I scooped. Go to game 2, I sideboard in the hate. I have gears in the side, as you guys can see. Didn't board in the gears because he wasn't playing the upgrade triggers. So like the Daring Escape plays the extra paddings, plays the multi-tools, plays the field communicators. I had the gears for those hate cards, but since he wasn't playing those, I didn't board in gears. But I did board in the Speed Trap, the Hijack, and I can't remember what the other two were.
Did you board in the Tripwire?
I boarded in the Tripwire, and then
I think you boarded in Stable Cover just to have a defensive secret action over the take covers and the reflect damages.
Right, because I knew that I wasn't that worried about his attacks, and if he was going to swing on me, it was going to be for a huge swing that he was going to throw away his hand to Fire Drive. So end hostilities wasn't going to matter. He was going to swing for a huge static attack value, right?
Yeah.
He's going to swing for like 21, and he flipping oranges and blues isn't going to matter. He's going to swing for a huge thing. So game 2, my opening hand was the nuts. I had a PTT in my opening hand, and then the first Perceptor flip, I think, or the second, I got the other one. So I have them both in my hand. He knows I have one because I get it on the PTT. I get it on the Perceptor flip, and I pick it up into my hand. So I PTT'd kind of early because if I let the PTT go under Perceptor, I feel like that's too much of a tell that I already have one because I'm not going to risk it not picking it up. So I played the early PTT, figuring that he'd think, okay, he probably doesn't have the other one. What are the odds he has it? And then the very next turn, I got the PTT again, and I think he just scooped. I don't even think I killed the Springer because he knew the writing was on the wall.
Yeah. Well, you guys.
Game 2 was quick, 5 minutes maybe. Right?
Yeah, you guys chewed up almost about half the clock in game 1. So like for him, he just knew the writing was on the wall for game 2, so he just got out of it. So you guys could have like about a 20-minute game 3, I'd say.
Yeah, and it was actually a blessing in disguise, right? Game 2 was only 3 turns. He didn't see any of the cards that I boarded in, so he had no clue what I had changed.
Right.
Very specifically, he hadn't seen the Speed Trap or the Hijack.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he has to assume they're in my deck, but he didn't see them to be sure, right?
I mean, no one else in the bracket had boarded and either of those cards. So
right.
He might have also been accustomed to people just not expecting combo and not boarding those cards.
Right. So game 3, I flip a PTT on either my first attack or my first defense. So I'm just like on struggle street, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I end up getting the Hijack and the Speed Trap. And the second to last turn of the game, he knows I've picked up the Hijack. I set the Speed Trap and putting him at a point where he has counter, but he has to name the right card.
Mm-hmm.
And he chose PTT. To his credit, if I have the PTT and he calls it, the next turn is pretty much GG for him because my Perceptor was on 10 cards under him. I had hit all the showing offs that game.
Yeah.
So my Perceptor was swinging base 17 or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
So if I have the PTT, I'm going to get 2 Perceptor swings for 17. So he's in trouble. So he called PTT, which I had just smoked him with the game before. So I think he was oversensitive to that and didn't also think that Speed Trap would get him right now.
Right.
And then as soon as he saw the Speed Trap, I think he knew there too. And then the next turn, he knew I already had the Hijack. He could have named Hijack, but Hijack doesn't win me the game or lose him the game at that point, so there's no way he names that. I set it for value the next turn just to get more cards into my hand.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't it's like you said, it doesn't like win you the game, but it just it keeps him off like refilling his hand to continue the loop.
He got super unlucky. I don't know if it was game 3 or game 2. He had to dig for a conversion engine. He flipped 1 or 2 on defense or attack, and he had to dig for that third one.
Yeah.
Like he brainstormed confidence, showing off and he finally got it. But he had to use almost all his resources, and that was the other good part about having the Hijack is that like he's did a lot. He got the Hijack. He's gonna have to try to dig, or he got the conversion. He's gonna have to try to dig again to find things he needs because he had just used a lot of his resources that turn.
Yeah.
And we went to time. We were playing pretty quick by the end. Like you said, the first game we soaked up about half the clock. Second game was quick. Third game we were playing at a pretty decent pace. We went to time, but that last swing, I swung for 17. I killed Springer, and all I had was Braun, so the next turn the game was going to end anyway. I was going to kill
Yeah, the game was over for sure. So the difference between our bracket, since I was the judge for all of these games, was we had a lot more games on stream. Everyone was able to see everyone's deck. So like, how did that affect your tournament?
I'm just going to play my game. It doesn't affect me that much. I'm going to do my best. It doesn't really worry me.
Okay, that's fair. So quick questions. You have a couple interesting cards in this list that we haven't really seen a lot of, in my opinion. You have 2 reflect damages. What is the main reason for that?
That's 100% to Perceptor from Sky Shadow.
That's very fair. And then is the
and horrible also.
Yeah.
So reflect damage turns Canyon Crash into a he does 2 to me and 2 to himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
2 he does 1 to me and 3 to himself.
Yeah.
So,
and the take cover was just a little extra added on bonus there.
Yeah, that's to prevent the spread AoE damage. The magnetic diffusion ray, the precision fire.
It's fair. It's fair.
That can save me too, and armed hovercraft. But I don't expect to see much of that this meta or this game.
After playing 3 rounds, how do you feel about the staggering mic?
Man, it looked really good on stream that one time. It's too gimmicky. It's too fun, too cute.
Mm-hmm.
It's not consistent enough. It doesn't give me enough advantage. It does, though, when you play the card. I think it was one of the games against Jamie. I played it on the tank because I knew that's the best chance of carrying it over to the combined form, right? Because if I play it on the plane, they're going to focus the plane. But at the same time, playing that makes them want to focus that piece because they don't want me to carry it over.
Right, right.
And if you're not playing a super Pierce heavy list, making Sky Shadow a 9 bold 3 tough 3 is value there, right? And it's a static +1. Even the +1 is on the piece too, so it's not totally worthless.
Yeah, the +1 attacks. At least it does something early on. And then if we look at your board, I mean, I think your board was just mostly just rounding out cards that you couldn't fit in the main deck, if you ask me. At least that's how I look at it. Do you think that you would continue going with the Autobot gears, or do you think that maybe there's room for other options?
I would not run gears. I don't know what I would run in terms of a character instead. I would run more of the combo hate, though. Like, I would probably run a second side, a speed trap for sure, and I would run the third PTT. In the games where you have to find it to win, it just has to be in there.
Yeah. So now, do you think that your list is missing a third PTT period?
Yeah. I regret not playing the third one in the board.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Is there anything else you'd like to say about your list now?
If you look at it, it's pretty fun list. It's really interesting. There's a lot of one-ofs in there that you don't see get a lot of play, like heavy-handed, gyro in the main, both of them. The bigger they are is in there too. It's just like Scott described it on Tech Talk. He's like, it's just a good cards deck, right? Like, I'm gonna see a lot of cards because of Perceptor. Almost every card in the deck is a good card.
Mm-hmm.
It feels good when you play it. The one of Brainstorm. I don't know if it's been published by the time this interview goes live, but you'll see some pretty interesting Brainstorm plays. One that I botched pretty terribly, and then one that goes off pretty perfectly, and does what it's supposed to do in that Ken game. So yeah, it's fun. What else was to see in my board? I wouldn't play. I think I would get rid of the Enforcement Batons, even though it felt nice to play it to get rid of Fire Drive. It's a good enough tool against the weapon heavy decks, but I would almost rather play a second Sab because I have Sab in the board. It's a one of.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's about. I don't know what I would do in terms of a character option.
That's fair. So you know the other competitors in the top four and what they're playing. How do you feel about your position going into the top four?
Well, I'm a little weary. I mean, I'm confident. I like my deck. I played it a lot. It was something that I had worked on for a while. In fact, you played one of the earliest versions of it on your stream against Fred. I don't think I was on that one. The horrible matchups are what I'm looking at the most because odds are I'm going to play the horrible list because it's what 2 of the top 4.
Yeah.
So I have the Hollow Matters in the board. I have the take cover. I have the reflex. Like I have a lot of the tools because I knew it was going to be there. Right. The 2 cards that I wanted to make sure I respected were combo and horrible.
Yeah.
Because I want to be ready for direct damage and I want to actually play the game.
Fair.
Actually, let me take that back. Remember, you and I had spoken. I would play horrible on the side and take out Perceptor, keep the Briscoe, and then play a star card.
Sure. So
that would be maybe where I would go with it. So that was something that you and I had spoken about and toyed with.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Is there? Well, how was your general feelings about the event as a whole? And do you have anything you'd like to add that you would like to see us change or do in the future?
I had a ton of fun. It was great meeting the other patrons on a much more personal level than just memeing in the Discord chat or on the Patreon site. So putting faces and voices with words is always fun. I had a great experience in terms of guys were all great guys. No problems, no blow-ups. I would tweak the format a little bit and just go with like if you're going to play the pods in the groups, modify the way it works. So like you have the 4 players in a group. 2 people play. The winner advances to a winner's match. The loser advances to the loser's match. Then the other 2 people play. So then the winners play the winners. The losers play the losers. And then basically like a double elimination group, right?
Yeah.
So there is no tiebreaker contingency like we ended up with. 2 people advance from each group. Whoever went 2-0. So if you won your first thing and then you won against the winner of the other matchup, you advance. And then the person who won out of everyone who lost 1 game. So the one person wins 2 and advances, one person loses 2 and loses. and then the 1-1 people play, and that person advances.
Yeah. Okay.
That'd be if you're gonna do groups instead of a round robin. That's my biggest contribution, because that's how you see some pro gaming leagues play things.
Yeah, I don't know that we'll stick with the group lineup from moving forward. To be honest, I didn't like it very much. The only thing I personally liked about the group idea was just it was easier to say who was responsible for who judging wise. But other than that, I don't know that it's necessary.
It's easier to keep track of than Swiss, though.
Right, it is 100%. I agree. But I just think that to make it feel like a more flowing tournament, it would be better off as just us running as a Swiss event.
Mm-hmm. And then also, if you take the groups like the way I said it, then you can seed the 2-0s.
Right,
then...
right. Yeah, like we almost there was a potential in different brackets that we were going to end up with 3-way ties. So like that was the issue, is that we had to like come up with this weird contingent plan that, well, if this happens, what do we do? And luckily none of that happened. All 4 members of the top 4, all 3 of their brackets, so there was no controversy or anything like that. And it would have been fine if there was. We just would have had, more games to play. No big deal. But, I think we did, we did our best to react on the fly to how we would change it, moving forward.
Yeah, and then you had to outlaw intentional draws.
Yeah, maybe because some guy kept saying he wanted them.
I don't know who that was.
Yeah, fair.
Weird.
I'm pretty confident we're going to be running the next event as a sealed event. So if you're listening, if you're Jempty and you're just hearing this for the first time, which I know he's not, make sure you save some packs so you can play in it.
Yeah, but you said I could only save 5.
Yes, you're only allowed to have 5. Correct.
Right.
And I'm thinking that I'm going to get 7.
I don't think so. It'll be fun for you guys to play in that event, right?
Yeah, we're going to play in the event.
Sealed, everyone can play in it.
Yeah, I think we're going to play in the event. So I don't really see a reason why not. It's mostly just a fun thing. And as Scott announced on Tech Talk this week, whether you're hearing this before that or not, we are working in the idea of getting arcanas that we can hand out to people for participations. So that should be fun.
That's cool.
Yeah. All right, Jempty. I wanted to say congratulations to you for making the top 4. It was a pleasure to call your games. You definitely made me laugh a couple times. And yeah, good luck, man.
Thanks, man.
All right, have a good day, man.
You too.